Natalia, 6 years ago. Jeannie flicks her hair over her shoulder and leans toward me. Have you heard about the new boy? I raise a brow. No, what about him? She giggles. He's hot. My nose wrinkles as I wonder if he really is. The last boy Jeannie told me was hot was so ugly I couldn't understand how she thought he was attractive. I'll see it when I believe it. I pick at my food, hardly feeling hungry. To be fair, he actually is hot, Anita adds, nodding. Carrie sits down next to me. Who is hot? The new kid from Mexico, Jeannie says. Carrie shrugs. Haven't seen him, but everyone is talking about him. Why? I ask. Apparently, he's hot and acting like he owns the place, even though he doesn't speak English well. Anita nods over to the entrance of the cafeteria. There he is. I turn my head to get a look at the boy that everyone is supposedly talking about, and it feels like my entire world stands still. On this occasion, Jeannie is right. He's the most beautiful boy I've ever seen, even from this distance. I can tell he has thick, dark brown hair that is styled perfectly and alluring tanned skin. Who is he? I ask. His name is Elias Morales, and he just moved here from Mexico. Jeannie shrugs. His English may not be the best, but it doesn't matter when he looks like that. She continues gawping at him, and when he's got his lunch, she calls him over. Hey, Elias, come and sit with us. Jeannie bats her eyelashes at him as he approaches. How is your first day going? He shrugs. Okay. It's clear from that response he's a boy of few words as he takes a seat opposite me and then looks up, his ice blue eyes landing on mine instantly. It feels like I can't breathe at the intensity in them, and his jaw clenches. Who's your friend? He asks, eyes narrowing. I see what Jeannie means about him not having the best English. His accent is heavy and his speech is broken, but now he's this close, it's impossible to deny how gorgeous he is. His eyes are aquamarine blue and so piercing it feels like he's looking right into my soul. Jeannie sets a hand on my arm. This is Natalia. Natalia, this is Elias. I smile at him and hold my hand out over the table. Nice to meet you. He glares at my hand with an odd hatred that sends shivers down my spine. I don't even know the kid, and he's acting like an asshole. Anita clears her throat. Oh, and this is Anita. She signals to Anita, but he doesn't take his eyes off of me. And Carrie. His jaw clenches. Why you friend with her? He asks, clearly talking about me. The question makes my stomach churn as I stare at the boy who has taken an instant disliking to me. He doesn't look at Jeannie. Instead, his eyes remain fixed to my face. What do you mean? She asks, drawing my attention to her. She shakes her head, brow furrowed as she glances between Elias and me. Natalia is cool. His nose wrinkles as he shakes his head and moves to get up. I won't eat with her. I feel my mouth fall open as I stare at this boy, wondering what his problem is. What the hell? I ask. Jeannie grabs his hand as he's about to leave, shaking her head. Wait, you're right. Her attention moves to me and her eyes narrow. You leave, Natalia. I'm so shocked I stare at her with my mouth open, wondering if she's being serious. After she doesn't say another word, staring at me expectantly, I shake my head. You've got to be kidding, right? Jeannie shakes her head. No, Elias wants you to leave, so you should. Jeannie, Carrie says her name. We don't even know this guy. I want to eat with Elias, so Natalia needs to leave. She glares at me. Leave. I swallow hard, glancing at my two other friends who fall into silence. It feels like they've stabbed a hole in my chest and twisted the knife. We've been friends for years, and suddenly a boy comes along who doesn't like me, and they're kicking me off our usual table. Elias smirks cockily at me. Right. Run, Gurin. Leave. My brow furrows as I wonder how he knows my surname. Jeannie only told him my first name. I grab my lunch tray and stand, glancing once more at the 3 girls who I've been friends with for years. Pretty fucking low, Jeannie. All because you have the hots for the new kid? Elias stands then, baring his teeth at me. I will run this place and make life hell for Gurin. Leave, he growls. As I search his ice-blue eyes, I wonder what I've done to inspire hatred from a boy I don't even know. It's impossible to understand, so instead of saying another word, I turn away and walk toward an empty table near the back. Once I'm almost at the table, someone calls my name. Hey, Natalia! I turn to see Adriana sitting nearby, watching me. I've spoken to her briefly in physical education, and she's always been friendly, even if we're not friends. Hey, I say, clenching my jaw as I try not to let the pain in my chest draw tears. All I really want is to eat fast and go back to my room to sob into my pillow. What was that all about? I shrug. New kid doesn't like me, and Jeannie cares more about hot guys than her friend. Adriana pats the seat next to her. You are welcome to join me, Georgia, and Camilla. I glance at the other 2 girls sitting at her table, who I've never spoken to but know by name. Camilla smiles at me. Yeah, that's pretty shitty what Jeannie just did. I sink my teeth into my bottom lip and then nod. Sure, thanks. I place my tray down on the table and sit next to Adriana, shifting uncomfortably. I'm not sure what I did to piss Elias off, to be honest. Georgia shakes her head. Jeannie's the one in the wrong. She should have told him to fuck off. I smile. Thanks for letting me eat with you guys. Sure thing. Camilla's eyes turn angry. I hate bullies with a vengeance, especially Jeannie. Her jaw clenches slightly. Even though you've been friends with her for years, you never got involved in her antics. It's true. I've always been too involved in my studies to be bothered with Jeannie's constant obsession with school hierarchy and making the new kids feel like shit. However, I've never been one to stand against it either. As I gaze over to the table I've sat at since I was 8 years old, I notice Jeannie smirking at me as she whispers something to Anita. They all laugh, and I feel heat flood through my entire body. Assholes, I mutter. Adriana nudges me gently. Ignore them. You don't need girls like that in your life. She clears her throat. You are welcome to hang out with us whenever you want. Camilla raises a brow. As long as you aren't too cool for us. I shake my head. Why are you guys being so nice to me when I've always hung out with a bully? Georgia shrugs. Because I can sense a kindred spirit a mile off. It's a bit of a gift. I smile, sensing that I'm going to get on well with all these girls. It's a shame it's taken this long for me to speak to them, since they've attended this school as long as I have. So, I don't really know much about any of you. Where are you all from? Sicily, Georgia says, which explains the accent. I'm from Chicago, Camilla replies. You're from Boston, right? I nod in response. Yeah. I glance at Adriana. How about you? Her brow furrows a little, as if she expected me to know, but I've always been shit at keeping up with who is from what family and where. I live over the border in Mexico. Wow, that's a long journey. Do you miss your home? Adriana shrugs. Not really. My family rarely had any time for me. They're too wrapped up in whatever shit they're running down there. The Vasquez cartel is one of the biggest mafia organizations in Mexico. I'm happy to be away from it. Vasquez cartel. I've heard of them. They're in direct opposition to the cartel that supplies my brother with drugs, the Estrada cartel. I nod and tuck into my food, despite not feeling hungry after the ordeal with Elias. I wonder what that boy's problem is. Elias? Adriana asks. I nod in reply. God knows, Camilla says, shaking her head. He keeps looking over at you with a horrible look in his eyes. I glance over to find Camilla is right. He's glaring at me even though he successfully got me kicked off my usual table. In fact, I sense I've been kicked out of my friend group entirely, and I don't even feel sad about it. Adriana sighs. He's part of the Estrada cartel, although his second name is Morales because his mother married. My brow furrows as his ice blue eyes narrow, and he makes a signal with his thumb, slicing it across his throat. I swallow hard, pain clutching at my chest as I wonder what the hell I've done to inspire such hatred. He's a member of the cartel that supplies the Gurin Bratva, so it doesn't explain why he hates me so much. Our families are basically allies. A tightness squeezes at my chest as I tear my eyes away from his, like a warning tightening around my heart. He may have been the single most beautiful boy I've ever seen, but he's also clearly unhinged. He may be hot, but the kid gives me the creeps, Camilla says, shaking her head. Georgia nods. Yeah, best to stay away from him. He's not a guy you want to cross, Adriana says, shaking her head. Their family is as crazy as mine. I raise a brow. Does that mean I need to be careful around you too? Adriana laughs. Perhaps. Her expression turns serious. No, I hate all that mafia shit. I try to stay out of it as much as I can. Camilla nods. Me too. Georgia shrugs. I'm lucky, I guess. My family is pretty awesome, but Sicily differs from America. I swallow hard, as I'm rather involved in it all at home. Mikhail says I'm going to lead the Bratva one day, which many think is ridiculous. A woman leading the Brotherhood? It just isn't heard of. Instead of saying anything, I just nod. A comfortable silence falls over the table, and I wonder whether I've been a fool for the 4 years I've been here. Friends with the wrong girls. Camilla, Georgia, and Adriana all seem much more genuine. I hate that the image of Elias Morales gesturing at his throat replays constantly in my mind. I fear that in the blink of an eye, my life at the Syndicate Academy is about to take a very dark turn if that boy won't leave me alone. Present day. I stare up at the ominous building, hating the way my palms sweat at the sight of a school I've attended since I was 8 years old. You'd think after almost 10 years the first day jitters would have gone, but I know the reason I get so nervous. Elias Morales, the king of the Syndicate Academy and a complete and utter asshole. A tingle races down my spine as I take my first step toward the building, wondering if Camilla and Adriana have arrived yet. Every year without fail since he arrived, Elias has set out to make my life hell, although last year was the most tame year of them all. I'm hoping that the trend continues this year and hell keep mostly away from me. The last year of the Syndicate Academy, and then I'm free from him forever. I sigh, allowing that thought to calm me as I walk through the vast, ornate oak doors that pave the way into the academy. It doesn't help that George's family pulled her out last year. We were close, and it's not the same being here without her. She always had my back. At least I still have Camilla and Adriana, but there's a hole she left in our group. Everyone is gathered in the main hall as chatter carries through the cold stone corridors from that direction. I clench my jaw as this is the moment I hate the most of the first day. Entering that fucking hall. Especially if Elias gets in there first and decides to torment me. As I'm about to step inside, a heavy hand lands on my shoulder and yanks me backward. What the? I stop speaking when I see Elias towering over me, piercing blue eyes as cold as ice. He's the most painfully handsome guy at this academy, but he's rotten to the core. My heart thuds unevenly in my chest, making me hate the way his mere presence has such power over me. I fear him, and I wish I didn't. It's like any time he looks at me, I'm transported back to his first day, when I was 12 years old, but he's a year older, because he came from Mexico to America late and was behind in his studies. That was the day that turned my entire life at the academy upside down in the blink of an eye. Before he arrived, I was popular and well-liked. Once he set his eyes on me and decided that he hated me for no reason whatsoever, I became an outcast. Elias walked in here like he owned the place and claimed the crown in 2 seconds flat before turning me into a fucking pariah. Not so fast, Gurin. I wet my 2 dry lips and stand taller, trying to mask my fear. His smirk widens. I've got something important I need to discuss with you. What? I snap, shrugging his hand off on my shoulder. I'm late and so are you. He leans closer to me, the masculine scent of him invading my space. You're going to want to hear me out. Trust me. I sneer at that. I think trusting you is the last thing that'll ever happen. He grabs my wrist and yanks me down the corridor, away from the main hall. I struggle to keep up with him, almost tripping over my own feet. Where are you taking me? Shut it, Gurin, he growls, coming to a stop outside of an empty classroom. Inside. I stare warily at the classroom, wondering if he intends to trick me like he did in 9th grade. I'm not a fucking idiot. I remember the last time you thrust me into an empty classroom. His eyes flash and he pushes me inside, stepping in with me. He turns the lock on the door and then spins to face me, a cruel smirk splitting his beautiful face in two. It's hard to comprehend how a man so beautiful on the outside could be so rotten inside. I did a lot of digging over the summer, Natalia, he says, walking closer to me, and I stumbled on some rather valuable information. My brow furrows as this isn't where I expected the conversation to go. What kind of information? Information that could ruin everything your father built here in North America. He places a hand in his pocket and pulls out a sheet of paper, unfolding it. It appears Daddy Dearest was a bit naughty back in Moscow, wasn't he? It feels like my throat constricts as I stare blankly at the paper, wondering what kind of evidence he has. My mother and father's love story was never a traditional one, and it was one we were always taught to keep secret. It was fraught with betrayal and danger. He kidnapped my mother from a powerful enemy in Moscow, intending to use her as leverage, but fell in love with her. After that, they fled the country and took on new identities here in America. Does Morozov mean anything to you? He asks, advancing slowly toward me, backing me toward the wall. I swallow hard. No, should it? Liar, he snarls, thrusting the paper into my chest. Your daddy's name was Valery Morozov, not Gurin. A part of me is thankful, as my so-called friends, Jeannie Doyle, Anita Henderson, and Carrie Garcia, were never truly my friends. They were false and only cared about appearances, and still do to this day. I can't deny that if it weren't for Elias knocking me off my pedestal, I never would have been friends with the 3 most amazing girls at this school: Camilla Marone, Georgia D'Amato, and Adriana Vasquez. Elias grabs a fistful of my hair, groaning against my ear. That's it, Gurin. Just like that, he breathes. His deep, velvety voice, almost alluring, if it weren't for the fact he's literally blackmailing me right now. I bet your tight virgin cunt is dripping wet right now. No chance, I say. I wonder if you're a liar, he murmurs, his hand inching up the skirt of my dress. I think I'll find out. I kick out, trying to get away from him. Let go of me. No, because you know the deal, Natalia. His hand continues to move up my bare thigh until his fingers skirt the edge of my panties. Do as I say or lose everything. I grit my teeth, as doing anything this man says goes against every fiber of my being. He doesn't have the right to touch me, and yet I'm backed into a corner with no escape. I can't let him destroy the one thing I care about most in this world, my brother and our family's legacy. I'm not stupid enough to believe that me or my sister Yana would get off lightly if Elias unveiled the truth to our grandfather, even with the protection of the cartel. He's had a price on my father's and mother's head since before I was born. What secrets are you hiding under that skirt? He breathes, as he pulls aside my panties and slides a finger through my shamefully wet pussy. Fuck, he groans, shoving it inside of me roughly. Do you like it rough, Natalia? I don't like anything from you. He chuckles. Such a naughty little liar. Perhaps I'll make you come right here and prove how untrue that statement is. I jolt as his finger bumps against my clit, driving me wild. Sinking my teeth into my lip, I silence my moan. Suddenly, chatter erupts outside the classroom, and a bell chimes, signaling that we've missed the first welcome back meeting in the main hall. He makes a groaning sound. Looks like my fun has been cut short. He removes his hand from under my skirt, and then his fingers dip into my pocket, and he grabs my cell phone out of it. Hey, give that back, I say, spinning around and trying to grab it from him. He holds it out of my reach, eyes narrowing. Remember your place, or do we not have a deal? It kills me to bow to this bully's demands, but I know I can't risk our grandfather finding us. Father always warned us about the feud between them and how he was furious when he took our mother. It was a rather strange star-crossed lover story in which they turned from enemies to soulmates. Fine, I grit out. Passcode, he demands. I glare at him before telling him the code, which is my birth date. 8/12/03. His eyebrow raises. Birthday? I shrug. Perhaps. He shakes his head, keying in the code. At least I know you're legal then. His eyes narrow. 18 years old and ripe for fucking. I wrinkle my nose in disgust. You're a pig. What the fuck is he looking for? He laughs as he scrolls through my phone, setting my nerves on edge. And then his expression turns lethal as that smirk drops. Who is Darian? He asks, eyes zeroing in on me. My stomach churns as he's going through my messages. Darian is a boy I met over the summer, and we've been seeing each other. A friend, I lie. His eyes narrow. He seems a bit too friendly to me. You won't text him anymore? He passes me back the phone. I've deleted and blocked his number. What the hell? He lunges forward, wrapping his fingers around my throat. You don't seem to understand the power I have over you, Gurin. You speak to no other boys except for me. My number is in there, and I have yours. I'll be watching every fucking move you make this year. And one wrong move will land your brother in serious shit. The door to the classroom opens, and Professor Nitkin clears his throat. "Hands off of her, Morales," he says, his voice so lethal it's enough to turn my bully pale. He releases me and turns away, whispering, "I'm watching." As he walks out of the classroom, leaving me with Nitkin, who is eyeing me. "I've got a class starting in 2 minutes. Out," he barks. I nod, grabbing my bag and rushing past him into the corridor. My hopes of this year being easy have been squashed before it starts. The promise of escaping my tormentor feels so far away, as he's going to make my life a living hell, deepening the dark hatred I have for him. I've got no choice but to do as he says, as I won't gamble with my family's well-being. 1 year can't be too hard to endure, I hope. Giving him my virginity, on the other hand, is something I'm not sure I can stomach. Elias. I watch her from afar, as I so often do. Her head tilts back as she laughs at something one of her pathetic little friends said, acting as if she isn't shaken by our conversation earlier today. After what I revealed, I expected her to be quiet and fearful of what was to come. Instead, she's behaving the same way she normally would, which irritates me. Natalia doesn't realize just how fucking different this year will be from any other before it. Summer was long and boring in Chicago. All my waste of a space father talks about is the war between the Russians, Italians, and Irish of the city. He doesn't seem to realize that I don't give a fuck about the cartel, or him, for that matter. I'm not in line for the throne, so there's no reason for me to get involved too heavily. I'm unsure whether Natalia notices how much I watch her, but from the day we met, I knew I had to watch her. Her family is the reason everything bad in my life happened, and therefore she is guilty by association. After my ultimatum this morning, she's been brazen enough to ignore the text I sent her and watched her read, "Bro, what's up with you?" Alex asks, elbowing me in the side. I growl, glaring at him. "Keep your elbows to yourself." He raises an eyebrow. "You're in a shit fucking mood for the first day. Where were you this morning?" I shake my head. Busy. I dig my fork into my food, trying to ignore the desire to continue staring at Natalia. There's no doubt I can't keep my eyes off of her for a second this year, if my plan is going to work. She will give herself to me willingly, and I will break her once she does. I clench my jaw as Jeannie Doyle sits down opposite me, giving me a flirty smirk. "Hey, Elias, how was your summer?" she asks. I don't smile back, as she's been after me since I fucking arrived at this school, and I'm not interested. "Fine," Nick chuckles. He's in one of his bad moods. I shake my head. Shut it, Khrushchev. Rosa, who is Nikolai's on-again, off-again girlfriend, clears her throat. "I must admit, you are in a pretty foul mood." I meet her gaze, narrowing my eyes. "No one asked you, Cabello." Anita and Carrie sit down on either side of Jeannie, eyeing me warily. "So, how was everyone's summer?" Carrie asks. I keep my mouth shut, since I have no intention of discussing my summer with her. "Mine wasn't great, since my father is overprotective," Jeannie says, eyes still fixed on me. "The organizations in Chicago are all at war, except for the Estrada cartel, it would seem." I clench my jaw at the mention of my family. "What's your point?" "Why the cop-out, Elias?" she asks, smirking at me. "Is your uncle too scared to get involved and pick a side?" "Too smart, more like," I snarl, glaring at her. She's a stuck-up and self-centered bitch who I can't stand. To be honest, she's hardly fucking mafia royalty anyway. Just because she's loosely related to the Calligans, it doesn't mean she's anything special. It's so far down the line anyway, even more so than my relation to the Estrada cartel. She is Ronan Callaghan's late wife's brother's kid. It's why she doesn't have the name, much like me. But my mom was an Estrada before marrying. Well, eventually, he'll have to make a move, she says. He won't have to do shit, I say, pushing aside my tray and leaning my elbows on the table. The cartel has more power than all of you idiots put together. My uncle doesn't need to pick sides, because he's on his own fucking side. Jeannie falls silent at that, her face paling slightly, as if she didn't expect me to tear into her. After all, we're supposed to be friends at this table, but I've never truly liked Jeannie. Anita and Carrie are okay, but they're easily persuaded to do things by Jeannie. Damien, who is thankfully often silent, stands. I've got torture next period. Anyone else? He meets my gaze. I stand. Yeah, I'll join you. I'm thankful he can read when I need to get away. See you later, I say to the rest of the table, heading out of the cafeteria with him. It's impossible to keep my eyes off of Natalia, though, as I walk past her table. I clench my fists as the desire to grab her hair and yank her out of her seat, dragging her publicly out of here, is strong. But Professor Nitkin is watching the cafeteria like a hawk, and I'd never get away with it. Especially not after he caught us alone in the classroom this morning. So, you want to talk about it? Damien asks, as we walk into the practically empty corridor. I sigh heavily. Not really. I'm just pissed about Natalia. He raises a brow. Not this again. I thought you were over your vendetta to make her life hell. I chuckle. No, I'm just beginning. I've got dirt on her family that could destroy them, and yet she fucking ignores my text? I shake my head. I need to teach her a good fucking lesson. Shit, so my assumption that you dropped your little feud was wrong? I nod, wondering why he's so bothered about it. Great, I owe Alex $100. I glare at him. Are you saying you bet on whether I was going to stop tormenting Natalia Gurin? He shrugs. Yeah, I thought you'd got over it. Alex reckoned you were biding your time. His brow furrows. What exactly did she do to make you hate her so much anyway? What did Natalia Gurin do to make me hate her? I don't think she even knows the answer to that question. But I do. Her family is the reason that the Estrada cartel got a foothold in North America, handing all the power over to my uncle. I despise her and her family because they're the reason they moved me from my home country and tore away the only person I ever loved. A country I belonged to, forced to live in a place where I didn't have a full grasp on the language and thrown into a fucking academy for mafia heirs. The Gurin Bratva ruined my life, and she is a part of it, which makes her guilty by association. Even though the Gurin Bratva is in Boston, they opened the door to the Estrada cartel by pledging to buy our drugs only, allowing the family to move to Chicago. It led to the worst night of my life, the night we left Mexico. I shake my head, trying to push away the painful memories. Ever since I learned a Gurin attended this academy, I vowed I'd make her life hell from day one. And that's exactly what I did. That hatred has morphed and changed over the years, getting more twisted and darker the older I got. It's a long story, I say. He nods, as Damien always knows when to push or not. Fair enough. We don't want to be late on our first day with Nitkin. He gives me a pointed look. The guy still scares the shit out of me, even now I'm a senior. Don't tell Alex or Nick, though. I clap him on the back, laughing. I think he scares most of the students here, including Alex. We walk into the classroom where most of the students have already taken their seats a few minutes before the start of class. Damien and I always sit at the back, but we both notice the new kid sitting in my seat, of all places. I glance at Damien and give him the nod, which tells him to have my back. I march up to the desk and everyone turns quiet, watching us. "You're sitting in my seat," I say, cracking my knuckles. The kid gives me a cocky glance and then returns his attention to his cell phone. I don't see names on the seats. I clench my jaw and grab the lapel of his shirt, pulling him halfway out of his seat. "Listen to me, you piece of shit. This is my seat. Get the fuck out of it before I chuck you out." He smirks, blue eyes sparking with danger. "I'd like to see you try." He grabs my wrist and frees himself, adjusting his shirt and sitting back down with his arms crossed over his chest. "Find another seat." I don't know who the fuck this kid thinks he is, as I walk to his side and yank him right out of it. He glares into my eyes, daring me to make a move. "Who the fuck do you think you are, newbie?" I growl. He shrugs. "Rizzo Bianchi," he replies, looking unfazed by my actions. "Now let go of me before I make you." Anger coils through me at this guy's fucking audacity, but I get the sense he can handle himself. Instead of finding out, I let go of his collar and shove him aside. "You find another seat," I say. Before I can register, he grabs my shoulder and pulls me around, landing a hard punch to the jaw. "Motherfucker," I growl, launching at him and tackling him to the ground. My fists pummel his face, but he just smirks with each hit, laughing. Everyone gasps, and I know it's not because of the fight. A heavy crack sounds, which signals Nitkin just entered the fucking room and has a hold of his whip. My spine stiffens as I stand straight, realizing I look like the instigator, since I was the one on top of Rizzo and punching the shit out of him. "Back away from him, Morales," Nitkin says. I swallow hard and follow his orders, as even I'm not insane enough to stand up to that sadist. "Get up, Mr. Bianchi," he orders. Rizzo has a busted lip and his eye is already turning black as he stands, glaring at me. "Explain what happened." I open my mouth to speak, but Nitkin cuts me off. "Not you. I want to hear it from Rizzo." Rizzo shrugs. "A disagreement, sir." "Mutual?" Professor Nitkin asks. He nods in response. Clearly he's no snitch. "Yeah, just a mutual disagreement." "Fine, both of you sit down. I'll deal with you later." Nitkin doesn't look like he believes Rizzo as he narrows his eyes at me. Rizzo sits in my seat again, looking cocky as he gives me a knowing look. I grind my teeth and take my seat elsewhere, hating that the new kid forced me to back down in front of everyone. If it weren't for the professor arriving when he did, I'm sure I would have forced him to back down. Although, the way he laughed when I hit him repeatedly makes me wonder how much pain he can take. "What the fuck is with that guy?" Damien whispers as he takes the empty desk next to me. I shrug. No idea. But at least he didn't grass me up to Nitkin. I can't deny that anyone gutsy enough to stand up to me on his first day deserves my respect. "True," Damien replies, opening his textbook. "Today we're going to learn about the parts of the body that inflict the most pain." The look in Professor Nitkin's eyes is one of pure, sadistic joy at announcing that. He's a fucking crazy son of a bitch who everyone fears being punished by, even me. Although I wouldn't admit it out loud. "Please turn to page 76 in your textbook." I thumb my way through the pages detailing archaic ritual torture and killings. It's hard to believe that these kinds of books exist, but the mainstream have buried them. Only the Syndicate Academy would be fucked up enough to unearth them. I sit back and tune out the humdrum of the lesson, since I hardly need to learn any more than my family taught me about torture. The cartel is renowned for creativity with our victims. My mind wanders to thoughts of my pretty little pet, and I hate myself for it. It makes my stomach churn as the girl I've hated more than anyone else has morphed into an obsession I can't scrub from my mind. An obsession can be a dangerous thing, even if it is born out of deep-rooted hatred. Natalia. It's been 3 days since Elias blackmailed me. In those 3 days, it feels like the asshole has been avoiding me on purpose, forcing me to look over my shoulder at every turn. I'm waiting for him to strike at any moment, and I don't like it. Life at the academy has always been this way since he arrived, but it feels worse now I know his intention for me this year. He has sent me texts tormenting me with stupid comments, but I've not acknowledged most of them. A few I sent one-word answers back, but if he thinks he can play me for a fool, he can think again. Yes, he has leverage over me and my family, but he's been clear on what he wants in return. My innocence. I'll give it to him to keep my family safe, but I won't let him treat me like nothing more than a slave who has to do everything he says. The memory of the way he touched me in that empty classroom sends an involuntary shudder down my spine. After all the things he's done to me over the years, he craves the ultimate control over me's sexual submission. It's sick and twisted and exactly the kind of shit I'd expect him to pull. A sense of unease sweeps over me as I walk down the empty corridor toward my next classroom, as I had first period free. I walk faster as I get the sense someone is following me, making my heart pound at 1,000 miles an hour between my ribcage. "Not so fast, Gurin," he says. That voice I'd know anywhere. It haunts my nightmares. I swallow hard as I knew this moment would come sooner or later, and stop, turning to face him. "What do you want?" I ask. A callous smirk spreads onto his too beautiful lips. "You've been a very bad girl, Natalia." I clench my jaw and pretend I don't know what he's talking about. "No idea what you mean." He closes the gap between us, towering over me in all his grandeur. "Is that right?" His lip curls up. "Then what the fuck are these?" He holds up his phone, scrolling through his texts and my replies. I shrug. "I replied, didn't I?" "Not to all of them," he growls, eyes furious. "It's as if you are goading me to ring up Grigory Lebedev and tell him I know where his family is hiding." I cross my arms over my chest. "You told me what you want to keep quiet. You want to take my virginity, and I'll agree. But other than that, I'm not doing everything you say all year." His expression turns deadly as he glares at me, and then he moves, wrapping his fingers around my throat tightly and slamming my back into the lockers nearby. "Clearly, you misunderstood what I want for my silence." His nostrils flare as those unique aquamarine eyes search mine. "I told you that you will be my pet for 1 year. It means what it sounds like. You do as I say without question if you want me to stay quiet." A cruel smirk plays on his lips. "Even if I tell you to crawl beside me on all fours like a fucking dog, you will not question me. Do you understand?" The firm press of his hand at my throat incites a terror that makes me feel shame, as if the 12-year-old girl that fears him is standing here instead of the 18-year-old. "Yes," I rasp, struggling to draw breath into my lungs. "Good," he says, releasing his grasp but keeping me cornered against the lockers. "Now, on your knees," he demands. My eyes widen. "What?" I said, "on your knees." The tone of his voice is lethal. My heart hammers so hard against my ribcage that I'm not entirely sure it won't break out of my body at any minute. What for? He grabs hold of my shoulders and forces me down to the floor, glaring at me. Take my cock out, and I won't ask again. My stomach tumbles like a pile of bricks. I can't do that here. What if... Now, Gurin. Or people will see. He glances at his watch. We have 8 minutes until first period ends. I swallow hard and reach for the zipper of his pants, feeling disgusted with myself that my pussy is wet thinking about this son of a bitch's cock. He may be attractive, but he's done horrible things to me in the past, and this is no exception. In fact, this is one of the worst things he's ever done. It's just that, in the past, it always centered on humiliating me or physically hurting me. This sexual edge to his torment is new and confusing. He's not wearing any boxers as his hard cock springs free, veiny and large. The first cock I've ever seen physically, and it seems huge to me. I don't know what to do as I stare at the liquid beating on the tip, feeling a hotness sweeping over every inch of my body. Put it in your mouth, he says, glaring down at me with those blue, hateful eyes. Please, don't do this, I plead with him, panic coiling through me. If anyone were to see us, I'd die of embarrassment, not least because Elias is doing this to degrade me. Open up now, he growls, lacing his fingers in my hair. I shudder as I open my jaw and shut my eyes, hating how hopeless I am right now. The more I push him, the more I place my family in danger. I have no choice but to accept my position as his little pet for an entire fucking year. It's the worst possible fate. Eyes open and on me, his fingers roughly yank my chin upwards. I want you to look me in the eye while I fuck your throat. My eyes flutter open, and the look of angry lust in his eyes shocks me to the core. Elias has always seemed so self-assured and so in control of his emotions. But right now, I can read his desire a mile off, which makes no sense. How can he hate me and want me at the same time? Good girl, he murmurs, before thrusting his hips forward. I gag instantly, the salty, masculine taste of him overwhelming my senses. My hands instinctively land on his thighs as I attempt to push the huge length of him away, but he holds firm. Take it and don't fight, he breathes, his voice raspy with desire. It will only be worse for you if you fight. I turn limp, obeying him as my throat accepts his assault. Slowly, he pumps his hips in and out, eyes flickering shut as he groans. Fuck, Gurin, he murmurs, nostrils flaring as those ice blue eyes remain on mine. Your throat is heaven. A shot of arousal floods through me at the way he's looking at me right now, as if he wants to devour every part of me. I should be scared. After all, Elias' main aim throughout our entire time together at SA has been to humiliate and destroy me. And yet, a part of me is aroused by his disgusting behavior. Even now, after all these years of torment, he has a power over me I'll never understand. Tears prickle my eyes as he rams the entirety of his cock down my throat, choking me with it. His thrusts become uneven and more frantic as he glares down at me, his face contorted with pleasure. Such a good girl, he purrs, making my nipples harden. You take my cock like a good little slut. he breathes, and despite the degrading nickname, it turns me on more. My little slut. I shudder as his cock seems to swell in my mouth. And you're going to swallow every drop of my cum, he orders, eyes flashing with such powerful desire, it makes me wetter than I've ever been before. He laces his fingers in my hair and yanks me forward, burying his cock to the hilt in my throat as he explodes down it. I gag, struggling to breathe as he holds me there and drains every drop, making it impossible to do anything but swallow. Finally, he yanks my mouth off of him and I gasp for air. The bell sounds and my heart skips a beat as he casually stuffs his semi-hard cock back into his pants and then yanks me to my feet with my hair. I quickly wipe away the saliva from my face and brush away the tears his ruthless assault had forced from my eyes. The thud of footsteps entering the corridor makes me long to get away from him, but he doesn't release me. Get off, I say, trying to untangle his fingers from my hair. Never, he breathes, and then his lips descend on mine, right there in the hallway, where everyone can see. I hear hushed chatter behind us and a few laughs as he possessively thrusts his tongue into my mouth, deepening the kiss. After agonizing seconds tick by, he finally releases me and then breathes, "You're mine, and I'm going to make sure everyone knows it." With that, he turns away and strides down the corridor. I sag against the lockers, feeling humiliated. I always knew Elias was cruel to the core, but what he just made me do was on another level entirely. "What the hell was that?" Camilla asks, staring at me like I've gone insane. I straighten up, adjusting the front of my blouse. "Fuck knows," I say, looking down the corridor where Elias disappeared. "He cornered me and wouldn't let me go," I lie, too ashamed to tell her what he really did. My cheeks blister with heat as Adriana eyes me, as if she doesn't believe that "Are you like a thing now?" she asks. "God, no," I say. But I know that's going to be increasingly difficult to convince them of, that the more Elias lays his claim on me. Camilla breathes an overly exaggerated sigh of relief. "Thank fuck for that, because I thought you were actually losing your mind for a second there." Adriana can see right through my bullshit. She knows when something's up, and convincing her otherwise is going to be tough. "We've got physical education next with Daniels." She makes a fake puking motion. "Let's get going before he makes us dress in front of him, the pervert." Camilla laughs, which eases some of the tension coiling through me. "At least he's a hot pervert, though." Adriana rolls her eyes as she leads the way down the corridor. "Doesn't make him any less of a creep. I heard Jeannie got fucked by him last year. After all, she's a year older than us, and I think he liked the idea of getting with a junior." This time it's my turn to retch. Gross. That man has fucked far too many students. He's the biggest man whore ever. Camilla nods. "And unfortunately, our entire year is fair game to him, so we better keep our wits about us. He always picks 1 or 2 seniors to get into bed with each semester." Adriana shakes her head. "Well, I can guarantee it won't be me." "Me neither," I say, scrunching up my nose. "There's no way I want Jeannie's sloppy seconds." We all laugh at that, and I feel the tension ease as I try not to think about the sick way Elias just forced me to my knees and assaulted me. My problems with Elias will not go away, but for now, I can try to forget them. The guy is insane if he thinks he can boss me around like that. But something tells me if I want our family secret to remain buried, I have no choice but to obey him. That's not what worries me the most, though. It's that he is determined to make it clear to every single student here that I belong to him, after all the shitty things he's done to me over the years. His words keep repeating in my mind. You're mine, and I'm going to make sure everyone knows it. I can handle him taking what he wants from me in private, but I fear he's going to make sure that everything he does is as public as possible. He'll use this opportunity to humiliate me, and I have no power to stop it. All I can do is suffer in silence and wait out the rest of the school year, hoping he doesn't break me completely. Elias. Nick clears his throat as we leave our last class of the day. What is it? I ask, glaring at him. It's so obvious when he wants to say something, but doesn't have the balls to bring it up. Is it true? I know exactly what he's talking about. The rumor already spreading faster than wildfire that I'm dating Natalia Gurin. Is what true? You and Gurin, he clarifies. I smirk at him. We're not dating. She's just my little pet, I reply, shaking my head. Do you really think I'd date her? He shrugs non-committally as we walk toward our lockers. I never know what you're going to do, Elias. I laugh at that as I find my locker and open it, shoving my books inside. It's just weird that you kissed her, is all, Nick muses. I clench my jaw and glare at him. Weird? Are you questioning me, Khrushchev? He shakes his head, holding his hands up in surrender. No, I just reckoned you hated her. I do. Then why would you kiss her? He asks. Because I can, and it shows how much power I have over her. She can't do anything about it. He nods, brow furrowed slightly as if he still doesn't get it. I don't need to explain myself to him. On another note, he says, leaning against the locker beside mine, what are we going to do about Rizzo? Damien told me what happened in torture with Nitkin. Fuck's sake. Damien could have kept his mouth shut, but I know it would have gotten out eventually. I crack my neck. If someone disrespects me like that, I'm expected to teach them a lesson. After all, I wasn't given the crown for being a fucking pussy who allows others to walk over me. However, there's something different about Rizzo. On this occasion, I'm not sure it's wise to make an enemy of him for it. Rizzo is tough. I saw it in his eyes when I hit him. Someone like him is better as an ally than an enemy. Nothing other than befriend him. I shrug when Nick looks at me like I've just told him I'm going to shoot up the entire fucking cafeteria with an AK-47. He didn't snitch, and I respect the kid. He can take a hit. You're really causing a stir for the first week back, aren't you? He asks. Rosa approaches us, smiling. Hey, babe, she says, wrapping her arms around Nikolai's neck and pulling him in for a kiss. He kisses her back, but then pushes her to one side. Hey, can't you see we're in the middle of a conversation? A flash of hurt enters her eyes, but she's fucking asking for it being with Nikolai. Their relationship is the most toxic one at SA. He's never treated her right for the 4 years they've been dating, and yet she constantly crawls back to him, clearly insecure. Yeah, she says, bowing her head. I'm sorry. Pathetic. Shall I leave you two alone? I ask, glancing between them. After all, I've got a Bianchi to hunt down. Nah, I've got to see this. Nick shoots Rosa an irritated glare. I'll see you later. That's his way of saying he doesn't want her to tag along, oblivious to the tears in her eyes. I'm not sure why he dates her, to be honest, as half the time it's as if she pisses him off just by being herself. Rosa isn't that bad, although her overly happy attitude can be a drag at times. Once we're out of earshot, he groans. That girl is doing my head in. Why don't you just call it off then? He raises a brow. And give up the fucking amazing blowjob she gives me? Nah, I'll put up with her shit just for that. I chuckle, shaking my head. You can be a real ass, Nick. Yeah, what's your point? I roll my eyes and continue down the corridor, as I know I can't really talk. After all, I've treated girls just as badly as Nick, if not worse. Forcing Natalia onto her knees to suck my dick might have been the worst of them all, to be honest. And yet, it was the most satisfying experience of my life, watching her eye dilate as she took every inch into the back of her throat. I shift my tightening pants and turn the corner toward the gym, where Bianchi seems to spend a lot of time hanging out. Up to now, he's proved to be a bit of a loner who loves to keep to himself. That will all change from today, as I could use a kid like him on my side. The gym is empty except for Bianchi, who is shooting hoops on the far side. I lean against the wall and watch, while Nick follows my lead. He's like a shadow at times, and it can get annoying. But I ignore him and push off the wall, clapping as Rizzo makes his second shot since we walked in and scores again. He turns around the moment he hears me clapping, and his eyes narrow. What do you want? He asks. I approach him, raising an eyebrow. To thank you for not being a fucking snitch to Nitkin. He just gives me a nod and grabs his ball off the floor, tucking it under his arm. No problem. I'm not a snitch. Right. Well, I thought you might want to hang out with us tonight at the ruins. A few of us are having some beers. He tilts his head and glares at me warily. I thought you were here to try to beat me up again. His eyes dart to Nick, who is still resting against the wall, watching. I hold a hand out to him. Truce? There's a few moments of silence until he nods and takes my hand, shaking it firmly. Truce. I smile and nod Nick over. This is Nick. He can be an asshole most of the time, but he's all right when you get to know him. Rizzo nods at him. Cool. So, how long have you been attending this shithole? I chuckle at that. Since I was 13. I was moved from Mexico suddenly and sent here by my father. Rizzo's jaw clenches. I know the feeling. My father just shipped us over from Italy. Nick sighs. I've been here since I was 8 years old. Count yourself lucky. He glares at Rizzo. Especially you. You only have less than a full year to endure. I meet Rizzo's gaze. At least you can speak English. My English was shit when I arrived. Nick nods. It was pretty fucking awful. And yet somehow you put yourself on top from day one. I shrug. Mexican stubbornness, I guess. I would not be bossed around by gringos. Rizzo laughs at that. Fair enough. Any tips? I put my arm over his shoulder. Yeah, stay with us and you'll be fine. The kid tenses a little, but is quick to relax, nodding. Sure thing. I remove my arm from him and nudge him in the ribs. I'm starving. Me too, Nick says, running a hand across the back of his neck. Let's head to dinner. Rizzo glances at the basketball on the floor, as if wondering whether to abandon his workout for food. You going to come, Bianchi? I ask. Sure. He grabs his rucksack off the floor and shoulders it. Lead the way. I feel satisfied that it was so easy to get Rizzo Bianchi onto my side, as I need guys like him on my team. After all, there are always assholes trying to claim the crown from me. Boys who think they're men, challenging me and my place at the top. Rizzo is the first kid who I wouldn't have bet against actually succeeding, so best to have him on my side. As we round the corner into the main corridor, I almost slam straight into Finn Murphy, one of the assholes who thinks he's tough. He's flanked by his two Irish friends, as they seem to stick together, Sean Kelly and Rowan O'Sullivan. "Look who it is, lads," he says, smirking. I cross my arms over my chest, narrowing my eyes. "What the fuck do you want, Finn?" He tilts his head. "Still so cocky about your position here, aren't you, Elias?" he chuckles. "King of the Syndicate Academy. But for how long?" I clench my fists by my side, smirking. "Say that again, and I'll make sure you have no fucking teeth left." Nick chuckles, and I notice Rizzo is tense, ready for a fight. "Yeah, that suits the Irish though, doesn't it? A load of fucking travelers with no teeth." Finn bares his teeth and growls at Nick. "Keep your mouth shut, Khrushchev, or I'll staple it shut." "I'll talk, no bite," he replies, cracking his knuckles. It's true. Finn Murphy may want the crown, but he's too much of a coward to try to take it. For years he's been mouthing off, and as I glance around the empty corridor, I realize it's probably time to put him in his place once and for all. I strike hard and fast, punching him right in the nose. "Fuck!" he shouts, grabbing hold of his face. "What the fuck was that for?" Mouthing off, I grab the collar of his jacket and drag him toward me. "I run this fucking place, and don't forget it. If you think that's bad, I'll make you wish you weren't born if you ever challenge me again." "Calm it, Morales." He holds his hands up in surrender. "I'm only jesting with you." "Well, don't." I let him go and glare at his two friends. "If I hear any of you questioning my right to rule this place, I'll make sure none of you can walk for a week." Rowan's eyes narrow in anger, but Sean just pales and nods. "No worries, lad," he says, holding his hand up. "No questioning on my part." Rowan doesn't say a word, but Finn nods. "Got it." Blood streams from his nose down his chin as he dodges around me and scampers away, along with his two friends. Rizzo clears his throat. "Does that kind of shit happen often?" I look back at him. "No. Most people aren't stupid enough to challenge me." Nick claps me on the shoulder. "It's about time someone gave that rat what he deserves." I lead the way into the cafeteria, and it feels like it's my lucky day, as Natalia Gurin is headed right toward me. First, I get to put a coward in his place, and now I can humiliate my little pet. She hasn't noticed me as she chats with Adriana, walking right into my path. Nick smirks when he sees where my eyes are focused, and all I have to do is stick my foot out in front of her. Natalia's eyes go wide as she begins to fall, her face flushing in an instant. I watch, laughing with Nick as Natalia faceplants the cafeteria floor. Adriana also hadn't noticed me, and her face turns furious when she realizes what I just did. "You fucking asshole," she says, quickly rushing to her friend's side. "Say that again, and I'll make sure I get you next time, Vasquez." Her eyes narrow, and she blows out an irritated breath, helping Natalia to her feet. Natalia's face looks a little red from the fall, and there's already a small bruise emerging on her cheek. I smirk, looking into her eyes and daring her to say something in retort. Instead, her eyes just hold an odd sorrow I've never seen in them before, as she turns away and leaves. Everyone in the cafeteria is laughing, but for some fucked up reason, I feel a twinge of guilt clawing at my insides. Why the fuck am I feeling guilty when I've done that so many times before, and worse? Natalia Gurin deserves everything she gets, since her family tore me away from my life and dragged me to this shithole of a country. "What was that all about?" Rizzo asks, looking confused. Natalia Gurin, Nick says, shrugging. Elias likes to keep her in her place. He always has. Rizzo looks a little uncomfortable with it, but doesn't say another word as we each grab a tray and get our food. Perhaps I feel guilt because she didn't even react, just walked away. I guess my hold over her is finally taking root,